Have you ever found yourself wondering if it's the right time to discuss pornography with your partner? It's a question that lingers in many relationships, yet rarely gets addressed openly. I'm here today to explore this delicate territory with you, not as a relationship guru with all the answers, but as someone who understands that healthy relationships thrive on honest communication, even when the topics feel uncomfortable. The conversation around pornography within relationships is complex. Some couples find it enhances their intimacy, others experience it as a source of conflict, and many simply avoid the topic altogether. Today, we're going to look at when and how to navigate this conversation, because timing and approach can make all the difference between constructive dialogue and unnecessary conflict. Throughout this video, I'll share insights on recognizing the right moment, preparing yourself mentally, and guiding the conversation in a direction that respects both you and your partner's feelings. If you've been wrestling with this question, stay with me. We'll be covering aspects of this conversation that don't often make it into mainstream relationship advice. Let's begin with perhaps the most crucial element, timing. When is the right time to initiate a conversation about pornography with your partner? The short answer is not during intimacy, and certainly not in the heat of an argument. These highly charged emotional states can color the conversation and lead to misunderstandings or hurt feelings. Instead, look for a neutral moment when you're both relaxed and have the mental bandwidth for a potentially complex discussion. Perhaps it's a quiet evening at home when you're both unwinding, or during a long walk where conversation flows naturally. The key is to ensure you're both present and able to give the conversation your full attention. Context matters enormously here. If you've just discovered your partner's pornography use and feel blindsided, it might be tempting to confront them immediately. However, taking some time to process your own feelings first can help you approach the conversation with clarity rather than pure emotion. Conversely, if you're the one who wants to discuss your own relationship with pornography, choose a moment when your partner isn't preoccupied with other stressors. Remember that this isn't necessarily a one-time discussion. Often, it's part of an ongoing dialogue about your sexual relationship, boundaries, and desires. Framing it this way, as part of your continuing journey together rather than a crisis to be resolved, can reduce the pressure on both of you. The second key consideration is understanding your own motivations before initiating the conversation. Ask yourself, what do I hope to achieve by discussing pornography with my partner? Is it because you've noticed changes in your intimate life? Are you curious about exploring it together? Are you concerned about its impact on your relationship? Or perhaps you simply want to understand your partner better. Clarifying your own thoughts and feelings beforehand helps prevent the conversation from wandering aimlessly or becoming accusatory. If you're concerned about your partner's pornography consumption, consider whether your concern stems from your personal values, feelings of insecurity, or genuine worry about unhealthy patterns. This self-reflection isn't about judging your feelings as right or wrong, but about approaching the conversation with self-awareness. It's also worth noting that cultural backgrounds, religious beliefs, and past experiences significantly shape our attitudes toward pornography. Acknowledging these influences can help you understand your own perspective better and approach your partner with empathy, even if their viewpoint differs from yours. Before we continue with our third key point, I want to take a moment to invite those of you finding value in this discussion to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. I'm committed to creating content that addresses the real, sometimes challenging aspects of adult relationships with nuance and respect. By subscribing, you'll join a community of people seeking deeper understanding of relationships beyond the surface-level advice that's so common online. Now, let's get back to our discussion. The third critical element is the approach you take when actually initiating the conversation. How you begin sets the tone for everything that follows. Start by choosing language that's neutral rather than loaded with judgment. For example, saying, "I'd like to talk about our perspectives on pornography," opens the door more effectively than, "We need to talk about your porn problem." It can be helpful to begin with I statements that express your feelings without assigning blame. "I've been thinking about how pornography fits into our relationship," creates space for discussion, whereas "you never told me about your porn habits" immediately puts your partner on the defensive. Be prepared for the possibility that your partner might feel surprised, embarrassed, or defensive initially. These reactions are natural and don't necessarily indicate that they're unwilling to engage with the topic. Give them space to process their initial reaction before pressing forward. Sometimes, acknowledging the discomfort directly can help. I know this might feel awkward to discuss, and that's okay. I just think it's important for us to understand each other. The fourth aspect to consider is creating a framework for mutual understanding, regardless of whether you and your partner ultimately agree. This means actively listening to each other without interrupting, asking clarifying questions, and resisting the urge to problem solve immediately. Many couples make the mistake of rushing toward agreement or resolution. Instead, focus first on truly understanding each other's perspective. You might discover that your partner uses pornography differently than you assumed, or that their feelings about it are more complex than you realized. They might similarly learn something surprising about your viewpoint. This is where specific questions can be valuable. How do you feel pornography affects our intimacy? Or, what role has pornography played in your life? Or, what boundaries would make you feel comfortable? These questions invite reflection rather than defensiveness. It's also important to acknowledge that there isn't a universal, right, approach to pornography in relationships. What works for one couple might be problematic for another. Some partners might enjoy sharing pornography as part of their intimate life together. Others might agree that it's acceptable individually, but not something they wish to share. Still others might prefer it doesn't play any role in their relationship. The key is finding an understanding that respects both partners' comfort levels and bodies. The fifth element worth addressing is how to handle significant differences if they emerge during your conversation. It's entirely possible that you and your partner will discover you have fundamentally different perspectives on pornography. This doesn't necessarily mean your relationship is doomed, but it does require thoughtful navigation. If you find yourselves at an impasse, consider whether this is an issue where compromise is possible. This might mean establishing clear boundaries, agreeing to revisit the conversation after further reflection, or in some cases, consulting a relationship therapist who can provide professional guidance on navigating differences around sexuality. Remember that ultimatums rarely lead to genuine resolution. Statements like, "It's either me or porn," might seem like they'll force a clear outcome, but they often drive conversations underground rather than resolving them. Instead, express your concerns in terms of how certain behaviors impact you emotionally and ask for your partner's help in finding a solution that addresses those impacts. Throughout this process, be mindful of the difference between healthy boundaries and attempts to control your partner. Healthy boundaries express your own limits and needs, while attempts to control dictate what another person should think or feel. This distinction can be subtle but crucial for maintaining respect within your relationship. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to emphasize that talking about pornography with your partner isn't about achieving perfect agreement. It's about creating understanding, establishing mutual respect, and ensuring that both partners feel heard and valued. These conversations, challenging as they might be, often strengthen relationships by deepening intimacy and trust. The courage to address potentially uncomfortable topics with honesty and empathy is what distinguishes relationships that grow from those that stagnate. By approaching this conversation thoughtfully, choosing the right timing, understanding your own motivations, initiating with care, seeking mutual understanding, and navigating differences respectfully, you create space for authentic connection. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Has this been a conversation you've navigated in your relationships? What approaches have worked for you, or what challenges have you encountered? Share your insights in the comments below. Your experience might provide valuable perspective for others in our community. If you found value in this discussion, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Each like helps more people discover this content, and your subscription supports the creation of more videos exploring the nuanced aspects of adult relationships. Don't forget to check the description box below for ways you can support the channel and resources that might be helpful if you're navigating this conversation in your own relationship. Thank you for joining me today for this thoughtful exploration. Until next time, Remember that the most meaningful connections are built on courage, honesty, and mutual respect, even when the conversations aren't easy.